What's up, everybody? This is Tim from Arm Wrestling Secrets, and today I wanted to talk about the best tricep exercises for arm wrestling. Okay, so let's take a look at some of the equipment we're going to be using today, and we'll talk about triceps. Okay, guys, so before we talk about the press movement and how it involves the triceps, okay, let's look at some of the equipment we're going to be using for our movements today. Okay, so one of the exercises we're going to be doing are actually going to be some classic tricep extensions, which I think are fantastic for just building tricep strength in general. We're going to be using a basic flat bench, and we're going to be using kind of an assortment of some of these easy curl bars, and I'll show you how to use those for your triceps, okay? And then in the other room, we're going to be doing the pulley system. Okay, so I have the small loading pin here, okay, that I've used. You might see, I just wanted to show you for an example, you might see bigger loading pins, okay, that are thicker. Okay, you can't put the small plates. You can't put the small plates on the big loading pins. So that's the reason I don't really like these. You can actually load these smaller pins with really heavy weight. I mean, you can put 45 on 45 on these. They're not gonna break, they're really light, but it also allows you to put really small weights on there. So if you wanna make small changes, like if you wanna go up 1 1/4 pounds, okay, you can just add 1 1/4 pounds to this this loading pin, okay, and it's gonna work. Okay, so we have the pulley system here. Let me show you how I have it all rigged up. Okay, so I have a little bit of, have some weights on there, and then we have it hooked up to a pulley. Okay, so this is just an overhead pulley, just kind of like an old-fashioned pulley system that anyone could use. Okay, and I have it so it's freely rotating, and it's just on a bar. Okay, so it's just like an above. It's kind of like in a squat rack, okay? It is a squat rack. Okay, so we're gonna be having the towel here attached to the pulley system. Okay, we're gonna be using for some one-handed stuff, and then we're gonna be using one of my favorite tools. We're gonna be using the stability box in combination with that. Let me flip the camera around. We're gonna talk about the press and triceps, and then we're gonna talk about some of these exercises. Okay, you guys, so we're at the stability box here and the pulley. Okay, so this is the first exercise we're going to be doing, but I wanted to talk about the triceps and the press movement in arm wrestling in general. Okay, so remember, most of arm wrestling, like I've talked about, okay, most of arm wrestling that you're going to be doing, whether that's top rolling or hooking, okay, most of that is going to be using back pressure. Okay, so meaning you're pulling backwards, okay? Okay, so most of the movements are going to be requiring back pressure. You're not going to be doing a lot of pushing in arm wrestling. And as you've probably seen my video on side pressure is killing your arm. Okay, remember, you're not doing side pressure, which is internal rotation. Okay, so now I'm going to show you some components of that, but I'm going to show you how to train it safely and get stronger safely, okay? And here's the triceps, okay? So the tricep muscle, as you can see here, triceps are just to extend your arm, okay? So you have 3 tricep muscles. You only have 2 bicep muscles. In simple terms, the bicep muscle is just meant to shorten your arm. It's just meant to pull your forearm up, okay? And vice versa for your tricep, it's exactly the opposite. Whichever way your hand is pointed, your tricep is designed to just straighten your arm. Okay, so in arm wrestling, remember, here's the hard thing about it, is it may look like it's easy to just push somebody's arm down in arm wrestling, okay? So if you're at the table here and you're going to do a press, okay, it might look like you can just kind of push them down, okay? And there's some arm wrestlers out there that have a ton of tricep strength, like Michael Todd, for instance, okay? But he's been working on that for a really long time, okay? So make sure when you're doing your press, make sure to look at some of my videos from the Arm Wrestling Secrets video series, some of my press videos on how to press safely. Remember, when you're pressing, a lot of it involves movement on the elbow pad, okay? So you're gonna be dragging, but kind of pushing on a forward, so you're gonna be sliding towards your opponent, okay? So you're not actually pushing towards the pin pad, okay? Anytime I'm doing a press in arm wrestling, I'm actually pushing towards the opponent, okay? I'm generally not trying to push them down to the pad. Okay, that's really, really rare that I'd be in a position where I'd actually be trying to push them down, okay, with my tricep, but it's still a necessary strength, and I wanted to show you how to build that on the stability box today. Okay, so let's take a look at a couple of exercises. I have one with a straight wrist, and then I have one with a hooked wrist, and I think they're both really important in terms of pressing, and then I'll show you how to put some power into it, into a real pressing movement. Okay, so let's look at the first one. Okay, so this is going to be with a straight wrist. This is the pulley system. I don't have a heck of a lot of weight on there. I just want to show this for an example of how to do it. Okay, so the stability box is here. We're just going to be using the top. Okay, you guys have seen me put my arm down the box and do a lot of different exercises. For the pulley, since it's right up above my head here to the side, I'm just going to be using the top, just like it's the surface of an arm wrestling table. That seems to be more convenient for me, and it doesn't seem to work better if I go down the box. This is just fine. Okay, so let's look at the first exercise. Okay, so look at how I take the grip here. So like I said, this is just a towel. It's not some fancy tricep rope or something. I just put a towel through the carabiner that's hanging down to the weight on the floor. Okay, so on this one, I'm taking a straight grip. So I'm just grabbing it like this, straight grip, okay? And then I'm gonna put my arm on the top of the box into arm wrestling position, okay? So you're pretending you're on an arm wrestling table here, and you know, if you had a pulley system, you could do this on your arm wrestling table, okay? But this is what I'm doing on the stability box with a pulley. And I'm using this, you can see this with my right arm. I have the pulley off to my right, okay? So it's not getting in my way. It's just going straight up, kind of behind me and to the right, okay? So you might have to figure out how you have it oriented, but, okay. So here, straight wrist. Okay, instead of a hooked wrist, I'm going to show you a different version of this. Okay, so the weight's going over my shoulder here. I'm kind of in an arm wrestling position here, okay, but I want to show you for the purposes of the video, I want to show you how it's going to be working. Okay, so I'm going to move back just a little bit. Okay, so for your exercise, this is all we're doing. We're just pressing your hand down into the table, okay? And you can do multiple angles. You can do straight down, you can do sideways, and then you can do kind of towards the pin pad, okay? And you might want to try working in all those different angles, okay? Remember, that's not a primary strength you're going to be using. You're not going to be doing a lot of downward pressure with your tricep. That's not probably going to do a lot for you, but the more strength you have, the better, okay? So here's our exercise. Straight wrist, press down on top of the stability box, okay? So we're here, and we're pushing down. And I have my arm kind of close to my body. I don't want it way out to the side here, okay? I want to have it in kind of a natural arm wrestling position so it mimics the arm wrestling as much as possible, okay? So we're going to be here, and I'm going to be pushing my hand directly down into the box. And I want to use something as heavy enough to where I can get 8 or 10 good repetitions, and then I hit muscle exhaustion. Let me show you the same version but with a hooked wrist. Okay, you guys, so exercise number 2 for triceps and working on your pressing power, okay, on the box is going to be with a hooked wrist, okay? So we're going to be taking an upside down grip on the towel. So watch how I do the grip, and then watch how I do the exercise on the box. And once again, you can do multiple angles with this. So here we go. Okay, so with the towel, the first grip we took was just here. Okay, we just took a straight wrist grip, and we were pressing down into the table. Basic tricep press down with your arm in a fixed position like in arm wrestling. Okay, so now we're going to take a different grip, and this is really important. And this is, I think, one of the most important parts of the video. This is my favorite exercise for working triceps for arm wrestling, and I found this to be the most effective use of triceps in my arm wrestling experience, is in a hook position. I need internal rotation. For all you side pressure guys, like I said, I don't train any side pressure like this, okay? But internal rotation, kind of in this direction, it's very similar. We're going to be doing, but with a downward, kind of a downward force. So it's not so much in as it is down, okay? So we're going to be kind of doing a close inside arm wrestling press with your hooked wrist. Okay, so watch this on the rope, and then we'll get into the movement. Okay, so I don't have a whole heck of a lot of weight on there. Your triceps not really strong when it's in a fixed position. Your triceps are much stronger when we're doing stuff
when your elbows can move a little bit, okay? When your arm's all by itself and it's fixed, your triceps not as strong as it might look, okay? So here we go. Let's look at this. Okay, reverse grip, okay? First one we were here, now we're here. This is my right hand, okay? And now watch here, I'm gonna turn into a hook position. Okay, I'm just gonna get this out of the way. Okay, so now I'm in a hook position. I got my arm fixed on the box, and what I'm gonna do is just press this down into the table. I'm gonna maintain the hook, okay? Arm down, and I'm just gonna press this directly down like my opponent is here. I'm just gonna press this towards him. Right into the middle of the table, press downs. Okay, what you can also do, like I said, multiple angles. You're not gonna be pushing towards your own pin pad probably, obviously, but I'd say from dead center towards the pin pad, and you can try working in some different angles with that, okay? So look at it again, and then I'll mix in a few different angles for you. Okay, so we're here, reverse grip, and I can use my other arm to pull this down, okay, just to get the weight off the floor. It kind of helps to use your other arm to pull it in. So I usually pull it in to help myself get into position here. Okay, I got my thumb wrapped around. I'm not going thumbless on this. Okay, so we're here, and I'm pulling in, and you can see how that wraps around there. Okay, so now I have my arm in there, and it feels good. Elbows on the box, and then we can get some angles here. We can start pushing a little closer to where the pin pad would be, okay? So our opponent's pin pad, we're trying to get his arm down here. Push, 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 push. Okay, and that's a great way to work your basic tricep strength. So you can pick an angle that you want and then try to pick a weight that's heavy enough for you to get about 10 or 12 repetitions. Okay, guys, so remember that the press in arm wrestling is a kind of a full body movement, and it takes full commitment from your body. So a press is never a movement that's just including your arm. You got to keep your arm really close to your body, and you're driving. Usually what I'll do if I'm going to be doing a press is I'll keep my arm or my elbow down at the far right hand corner of the elbow pad, and then drive up towards the far left corner of the elbow pad, okay? And I've demonstrated that on my Arm Wrestling Secrets video series, okay? So remember, we're here. If we're going into a press, let's say our opponent is directly across from me, obviously, okay? I would be pressing, I would never be pressing towards my pin pad, but I might be pressing mostly towards them, but towards the pin pad a little bit, okay? So remember that your arm's here, but remember, this is what I was gonna show you for an exercise, is remember that that's the movement for a press. It's not, okay, that is not that is not the way to do a press. It's good to have tricep power for pushing down and maybe doing even some, finishing off a match, and having some strength there is always really good because it's going to help you stabilize your arm. But remember, the press is a driving move. You got to keep your elbow on the pad, but you drive it from one corner to the other, okay, and you're using your whole body, okay? And that's why you got to keep your elbow, or you got to keep your shoulder behind your arm, okay? So you're driving with your whole body. Your arm's not out to the side, and you're going to push. That can be really bad for your arm, okay? So look at this exercise. This is what I call a power press, okay? And this is how I like to train it, okay? And this may take a while to get into it. This is a little bit more uncomfortable. We're going to take the same position with the rope, okay, or the towel. We're going to take that same hooked position, okay, but I'm going to put my whole body into it. Instead of just isolating my tricep, I'm going to put my whole body into it like it was a press, and then we can actually add more weight to the movement, okay, but you have to get used to it a little bit. But I want you to see how it looks, okay? So same thing. I do it from a hook position, and this mimics a movement I might do at the arm wrestling table, okay? So we're going to be here. Okay, so same thing with the grip. We're going to be taking a reverse grip. Okay, once again, just my right hand here. Okay, I'm going to pull the weight down into a hook position. Okay, and this is like a power press. Okay, so this is when I'm going to get my whole body into the movement. Okay, so I'm going to keep my elbow, give myself some room like I had the elbow pad. Like I said, this is one you can actually do on a table with a pulley if you have it, okay? And we're going to be here. What I'm going to be doing on this one is I'm going to press my hand down to the table, but I'm going to do it in a way where it's like my whole body's in the motion like I showed you a moment ago. So it's an actual press motion. Okay, so watch this. I want you to be able to see it. We would be, instead of there, which was just pushing down with my arm. I mean, I'm just pushing down with my arm. I'm going to put my whole body into it, okay? And you'll hear the weights and everything on this, and this is the way it looks. Okay, we're here, and we would be, and you can throw a lot more body weight into the movement, okay? And that's actually the way the press is going to be working, okay? In real life, is when you're against your opponent here, you're throwing all of your weight behind your hand, okay? So it's a very technical movement in arm wrestling, okay? But that's the way I like to practice it. I like to get the triceps strong, and then I actually like to work it with some power behind it, okay? So let's look at that again. Okay, so we're coming into a position here. Okay, and like I said, I'm finishing with my arm on the box. I'm behind my arm, okay, or behind my hand, okay, and I'm just kind of putting my body into it, okay, as opposed to standing up and just pressing down the hand. Okay, so you can see the difference there. I'll do a couple more. Let me do a couple more repetitions for you, and let me just make sure you can see that. Okay, so we're here. Okay, and then we're going to be pushing down all in one motion. Okay, so that way you're actually using your body a lot more like you'd use a press in an actual arm wrestling contest, and you're using your whole body like an engine as opposed to just isolating your arm. So let me show you one more exercise for the triceps over here. Okay guys, so we got a couple more exercises here with the pulley. Okay, so we're just using the pulley. We're not going to use the stability box. We're going to be standing on this one, so it's just going to be the pulley that we've been using. Okay, and then actually just a towel. Okay, so there's no fancy tricep extension pieces or tools or anything like that, any accessories. So let's do a couple of exercises here, and then we'll finish up with the barbells. Okay guys, so we're going to be doing a couple of great tricep exercises just here on the pulley by itself without the stability box. Okay, so we're going to be doing single arm variations, obviously, because arm wrestling is a one arm sport. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. Okay, so using just the towel, no fancy accessories here. First exercise is we're going to be doing a straight, so you can see my wrist, okay? We're going to be doing a straight wrist press down with one arm. I'm going to have my arm right on the side of my body and press down. Okay, so this is the way it looks. Remember, you don't need a lot of weight on this one. It's a lot harder than it looks. Okay, so we're here, straight wrist, no fancy grips here. We're here, elbows up my sides. I'm going to stabilize myself with my other arm if I can. Okay, I got my feet spread apart so I'm nice and balanced. Okay, and I'm just going to push down. Okay, and you can see my wrist. The wrist should be straight. Its wrist shouldn't be bent like this at the top. Okay, the wrist should be straight. So you're getting some ulnar flexion, and then you're getting the tricep. Okay, so arms up, press down, and squeeze. So you want your arm to be totally straight at the bottom. Okay, up and squeeze. Okay, so for this one, you want to pick a weight that's hard enough to hit muscle exhaustion by about 8 or 10 repetitions, something like that. Okay, and then now look at this next grip that I take. Okay, we're going to be going into the same type of press down for the next exercise using the pulley, but with a hooked position. Okay, so the next exercise is going to look just like this. Okay, I'm going to do it without the towel, and then I'm going to show you how to do it with the towel. Okay, so the next exercise, the first one we were just here. The next exercise, we're going to hook into the towel and press down, okay, and that's going to take some different strengths. Okay, this one's actually a little bit harder. Okay, so let me show you how. We're getting into the towel the same way, but let me demonstrate it properly for you, and then I'll get on the other side and I'll do some press downs for you. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so just so you can see, once again, we're taking a reverse grip on the towel. Okay, so you can see me here. The first one, we're just taking a straight grip and pressing down. Okay, now we're doing the opposite. Okay, reverse grip. Okay, so we're taking the same towel. Okay, reverse grip. Okay, I'll move that out of the way in a second. Okay, so reverse grip, and then I come in to your hook position. Okay, and then from there, I'm going to press down with the hook. Okay, so I'm going to turn around so you can't see my hand as well, but you'll see the position we're going for here. Okay. So turning. Okay, same position. Okay, so I got my hand in a hook position. We're going to be pressing down from there. I'm going to stabilize myself, feet wide, and press down. Oh. We're going to press down and squeeze. So you can see my hand here. Okay, so I have the hook position there. Press down and squeeze. And same thing, you want to lock your elbow all the way straight if you can. These get pretty tiring, okay? So with both of those, try to pick a weight that's heavy enough so you can get about maybe 8 or 10 repetitions, and then you'll hit muscle exhaustion. Okay, you guys, so we're going to finish in the other room here. We're going to finish with some tricep extensions, and we're going to be using these easy curl barbells. Okay, so what are we doing? When I do it myself, I do a drop set. Okay, so once again, I'm going to grab a heavier barbell, do as many repetitions as I can. Once I hit exhaustion, I would move it directly to one that's down by about maybe 15 or 20%, and then down to a final one to hit exhaustion. So I hit exhaustion 3 times during my drop sets, okay, and we're going to be using a bench. So you've probably seen this exercise before. I'm not going to demonstrate the entire drop set for you today, but you get the idea. I'll show you how the exercise works though, and here we go. Okay, guys, so most of you have seen tricep extensions before with barbells, okay? So it's going to be nothing too fancy, but this is the way I'd like to try to finish the exercises here. So this one I'm going to do with both arms because we're using a barbell. This exercise I feel really just helps build a lot of just basic pure power in the tricep, and that's what we need for arm wrestling too. Okay, so I'm going to demonstrate with just a 60-pound barbell, and then I'll explain how I use those, but I want you to see exactly how I do it, okay? Here we go. Okay, so you see the grips on the inside there? Okay, so I'm going to take an inside grip for this exercise, okay? So for bicep curls, people usually they're usually taking this grip, okay, for biceps, and then they're standing up and they're doing curls, okay? So for this exercise for triceps, we're going to take an inside grip. So we're going to put our hands in here, okay? So I'm going to put this here. Okay, so we're taking that grip on the barbell. Okay, I'm going to lay down on the bench. I'm going to push out some of these exercises so you can see how I do it. Okay, so I aim the barbell so it goes just over my forehead. I don't try to bring it to my forehead. I aim for just above. Okay, so here's how it looks. So I'm trying to keep my elbow as stable as I can. I'm not wanting my elbow to go all over the place on this. I'm going to try to keep it stable. It's obviously going to move a little bit. I wouldn't try to keep it totally stable. That's going to be a little bit bad for your tricep. Okay, so a little bit of movement is fine on this one. Over, I'm trying to touch. It's like I'm trying to touch the bench just above my head. That should be the angle you're going for. Okay, so we're here, and then we're squeezing hard at the top, okay? And then when you're done with the exercise, you can come back up. Okay, and then so when I do those on my own, when I'm doing tricep extensions to finish with this, I'm gonna pick the heaviest weight I can do for about 5 repetitions, okay? And from there, then we're gonna do the drop set. So I'll do 5 repetitions, 5 to 7 repetitions with something heavy, okay? Then I'll immediately drop, and then I'll go pick one of the lighter barbells, okay, something maybe 20 pounds lighter. I'll do a bunch more repetitions, maybe another 7 or 8, and then I'll drop another 20 pounds and finish with that. So I'll hit exhaustion 3 times during the set of those barbell extensions. Let me show you one last exercise that I like to finish with sometimes, and then we'll be done with our tricep exercises. Okay guys, so one more exercise to go. I'm actually just using a large plyometric box. This is just because I have one handy. Okay, not necessary. You can use a bench or some other type of thing to sit on to push yourself off of. Okay, so but this is the way I like to finish my exercises for the triceps. Is some tricep bench dips, and I'm going to use this plyometric box. Let me show you how this looks. Okay guys, so last tricep exercise. Okay, so I'm sitting on the plyometric box I just showed you. This one's 18 inches, but it doesn't really matter. Okay, something like a bench height is fine. Okay, so this one I'm gonna be using both hands. I'm gonna be putting my hands behind me, right next to my hips. Okay, so with this one, I'm sitting in the middle of the box, okay? I got my knees together. So if you can see this from the front, let's say I was doing it on this side. I'd have it's almost like I'm sitting on my thumbs, okay? So I want to have my hands really close to my body, okay? So on this one, my hands are going to be here, and then we're going to dip down. I touch my butt to the floor, and then I come up and I squeeze, okay? So let me show you that from the other angle because it looks better, okay? And this way you can see what's going on. Okay, so I'm going to switch sides. Okay, so we're here at the box. Okay, so let's look at the exercise. Okay, so moving it back. Okay, so exercise is going to be here. Thumbs are underneath. My hands are right next to my hips. Okay, on this one, I'm going to bring my feet out. My knees are about 90 degrees. I want to have my body right next to the bench. Okay, so you don't want any space. You don't want any space between you and the bench, okay? So you don't want that space opening up. That's going to be making your legs do work, and it's going to take away from your triceps. You want to be sliding right up and down the box with your body, okay? So watch this. Okay, here's our exercise. Okay, we're here. I'm going to stay really close to the box. I'm coming down and then squeeze and hold at the top. Try to hold for at least a second or two, okay? Come down slow, control, touch, squeeze, control, touch, squeeze. And for this particular exercise, I just do as many reps as I comfortably can, okay? So I'm not adding any weight to it. I don't add any weight to my legs or anything like that. So I just do as many as I can in a row until I can't do another one. I hope you guys like this one. I hope this helps with your press, and I'm gonna see you guys in the next one.